address some aspects of the mandate of 2014 and provide inspiration to all chapters and engage their members in new and exciting ways. Because of those reasons, we call these engaged stories.
So first up is AIGA Detroit's incoming president, Colleen Hill, on how a chapter in a down economy and struggling community grew remarkably in size and scope. So please welcome Colleen Hill.
Hi everyone, I'm Colleen. I've been the president of AIGA Detroit for about 1 whole month. So before that I was the programming director, and before that I was on the programming committee. So I've been with the chapter for about 4 years. I'm sure most of you have heard a lot about Detroit in the past few years. We've garnered more than our fair share of media attention. Headlines like nearly half of all Detroit adults are illiterate, functionally illiterate. Unemployment in Detroit reaches 28.9%. Detroit's mayor will leave office and go to jail. Supporters of RoboCop statue raised over $50,000. So, despite what the national media would lead you to believe, as a chapter we're doing okay. In fact, we're doing better than okay. We're doing the best we've ever done. In the past few years, we've nearly doubled our members, quadrupled our sponsors, and achieved a greater awareness of our organization within our local community. In order to fully understand how we reinvented our chapter, I must first explain where we were 5 years ago. Similar to Detroit's own story, our chapter was suffering. We had 215 members and were hosting 1 or 2 events a year. Many of our board members had been serving for 8 or more years and were exhausted. We had few yearly sponsors that we relied on as our only source of external income. And then something changed. We had a turnover in our board, which brought new energy and ideas to the table. The new programming director, Chad Rucker, decided that in the coming year we would focus our programming around a theme: Celebrate Michigan Design. We felt this was fitting, as Michigan is a place often overlooked in favor of design work done on the coast. And since Michiganders tend to have a lot of pride when they live and work, you might be familiar with some of these people. We thought this would resonate well with our members. Our first Celebrate Michigan Design event focused on our rich past and featured the work of designers Ed Fella, Ron Ray, and Nelson Greer, who worked in studios during the 60s, 70s, and 80s when the Detroit ad world was at its peak in popularity. We had over 350 people attend the event, and we had to expand to another room with a live video stream of the lecture in order to accommodate the large turnout. The number of attendees present proved to us that our sentiments for Michigan design were shared by our colleagues and friends. The success of this event opened our eyes to what our chapter could be if we continue to provide interesting and engaging events. The year following, we hosted 8 events, and 17 the year after that. It was at this time that we also recognized the need to diversify our programming. It wasn't enough to only ask designers to speak about design to other designers. We resolved this by adding workshops with Adobe, thanks to our national sponsor, and local screen printing workshop. We organized small roundtable discussions that focused on the business side of design work. And we played design-related films like Helvetica and Beautiful Losers and Die Down Stay Pretty. In 2009, the West Michigan chapter was established, and we said farewell to our members who would now be joining our chapter. Nevertheless, we welcome the second chapter in our state and the potential for future partnership opportunities. Hayden, Mike, and Glenn, wherever you are. In 2010, we hosted a total of 31 events, including our In place of the Celebrate Michigan lecture this year, we organized a postcard competition called Wish You Were Here. The Wish You Were Here project encouraged Michigan designers and residents to create a positive representation of their state in the form of a postcard. The postcards were shared with AIGA chapters throughout the country in hopes of turning some of the negative press around and sparking interest in the state and designers elsewhere. Along the way, we realized that in order to reach a broader audience, and to gain new members, we need to rethink our promotional strategy. Prior to 2006, the main methods we'd employed in promoting our events were email blasts and mailings. This limited our reach only to people who were already aware of our organization and events. We identified areas, both physical and online, where we thought we might best reach our target audience. We began by contacting our local NPR radio station, WDET, shortly before the launch of the 2010 Celebrate Michigan event, and were invited on air to discuss both design in Michigan and invite listeners to the event. This went so well that we were invited back a second time to discuss the Wish You Were Here postcard project and announce the call to entry. This feature resulted in our receiving over 150 submissions to the competition, many of those from people who had never heard of AIGA before. We continued this effort by doing a promotional trade with another local creative organization called Handmade Detroit. In exchange for listing their event on our website and mentioning it in our newsletter, we were given space in the footer of their website and were invited to have a table at the Detroit Urban Craft Fair, which over 4,000 people attended. Our postcard-themed table was used to display vintage Michigan postcards to draw people in order to discuss Wish You Were Here competition and also AIGA in general. We also sold the vendor gift bags with 80 silk-screened postcards inviting them to participate. We reached out to writers who in turn wrote about the various events and projects in newspapers and on blogs. Once the finalists were announced in the Wish You Were Here competition, we invited the public to help determine which postcards would be printed. Shortly before this, we contacted the Pure Michigan Tourism Bureau, who asked their Facebook fans to vote, which helped our website in receiving 32,000 page views on the first day alone. All of this has led to more name recognition for our organization and a better understanding of what we do. While we're not quite yet a household name in Detroit, at least we're no longer being confused with AIG. Another way we've gained recognition with people outside of design world is by organizing events and initiatives that help better the community. We started by adding a community impact chair to our board, and they started Adopt a Grassroots, a program which helps local nonprofits by working with a committee comprised of AIGA members to create design solutions to fit the nonprofit's needs. In 2009, we continued to expand this effort by adding a chair position for Shout, our mentoring program which partners designers with high schoolers to work on a community-based project that involves design thinking and strategy. This year we partnered with Lemonade Day to create the first ever Lemonade Day in Detroit, Michigan. Design students worked with middle school-aged kids to create signs and construct a stand. They learned how to make lemonade and promote their business, with proceeds benefiting various charitable causes. 14 stands around the city of Detroit earned over $1,500 for nonprofit organizations. These efforts to increase the number of events, type of events, and promote our events has led to more partnership and sponsorship opportunities. Because we've made our organization known as a valuable asset in the community, we've reached a point where sponsors have begun to approach us asking to partner on events. In October of 2010, we reached over 500 members. We have 10 sustained sponsors and partners, and we have even more individual event partners. So far, we've hosted 13 events this year and have many more planned for the coming months. I hope that now when you read a headline about Detroit or see a story in the news, in addition to thinking of this, you'll also think of this. Thank you.